Scuba retail is in the toilet right now. Here's how we save it. It's Mouthpiece Monday time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Divers Ready. My name's James. We are in a weird transitional age for scuba retail. Here are some unrelated snapshots and some questions we may want to think about answering if our industry is to thrive. Big store retailers in other industries such as Best Buy, Big Lots, Party City, Dick's Sporting Goods, Advanced Auto Parts are circling the drain because they have failed to recover after the pandemic and got their asses kicked in the e-commerce space by Amazon. So what hope do Ma and Pa dive retailers have against the Bezos meat grinder? Scuba diving participation is up to speed with pre-pandemic levels, but dive gear sales are not. Gen Z are experiential creatures. Give scuba a go, done that, got the t-shirt, and then it's on to the next thing. Discover dives are up, but conversions to open water training, i.e. certified scuba divers, are down. D.S.Ds don't buy dive gear. So how do we rid ourselves of boomer marketing techniques to make this sport appeal to younger generations who reportedly, and I don't believe this, have the attention span of a TikTok video? As for the manufacturers, well, they're not doing so well either. Scuba Pro reported a sales slump of 13% year on year at the end of 2024. Aqualung, arguably their biggest rival, is even in worse shape. Aqualung has been passed around like a pool toy between different private equity firms and had to be bailed out by the French government to the tune of 17.5 million euros. Personally, I blame the $169 Apex spool. Head Sports, the parent company of SSI, Revo, Mares, Liverboard.com and a bunch of other brands, are in talks to buy Aqualung, and I'm pretty sure that Emil D.A.N must be turning in his grave. I couldn't find specific results for Head Sports Scuba division, but overall their sales were down 9.8% last year as well. Quick side story, I sent Aqualung customer service a product question via email in September 2023 through their customer service contact form on their website. I am still waiting for a reply. Meanwhile, as boomer dive shop owners finally retire, Dive Ventures is going state to state here in the US, vacuuming up dive stores and rebranding them with their own special appeal. And yet, even they, with 17 stores nationwide, which will probably be 25 stores by the time this video is done, have refused to embrace e-commerce. E-commerce is a modern and scary word for boomer dive shop owners and their customers. How many times have I heard the, yeah, but you can't fill your cylinders online, so you better support your local dive shop. Last time I went to buy a regulator in a store that carried the item I wanted, or supposedly, I was told that I had to wait 6 weeks for them to build up enough orders to meet the minimum order amount. These are minimum order amounts placed on dive shops by the manufacturers before they'll ship the stuff you want to buy. Otherwise, they don't hit the required order quantities, they don't qualify for free shipping, which further reduces profit margins, yada yada yada. I told them to forget it, went home, ordered the reg from a local dive store online that happened to be in California through Amazon as an e-commerce platform, and had that reg in 2 days. Dive manufacturers drove me out of my local dive store market with their ridiculous minimum order requirements. You're not going to bully me into supporting a local dive shop out of some misplaced sentimentality if they don't have the products I want in stock when I walk in the door and their customer service is, 6 weeks long. My cylinders get filled, don't worry about that, more on that in a minute. Margins on scuba equipment are pretty minuscule, and they only get slightly better if you agree to only stock one brand, as in the Scuba Pro Platinum Store Principle, which is basically the retail equivalent of the Paddy 5-star guarantee bullshit. High value items requiring big minimum order numbers on which to make a tiny profit whilst limiting customers' selection is not a sustainable retail model. It has never worked in any industry. We have a large dive retailer here in Florida that I actually worked for briefly when we first moved to Miami, and about 75% of their floor space, their area, was dedicated to swimwear, t-shirts and apparel. Why? Because they are vastly more profitable items than dive gear. So minimum order requirements set by the manufacturer's sales team are the root of a major problem. People have nostalgia for their local dive store. I get it, it's cute. But asking customers to wait a couple of months for an order to be filled in this era is really testing the loyalty to that nostalgia. It used to be that you had to go into your local dive shop to get educated on what to buy. Your local dive store staff were the keepers of the dive gear knowledge. Oh, trusted ones, please recommend a BCD for me. What is the difference between a diaphragm and a piston regulator? That's not the case anymore. When I worked in big box scuba retail, none of the floor staff dived actively. None of them had any clue about the products that we sold. And in their defense, they didn't need to. Customers have so many more sources for information on products and are so much better educated when they walk in. They know what they want. They walk into the shop to make a purchase, not to get advice. They don't have questions. They want to buy now. Give me the product, I will give you money, and that's it. Sales are way more transactional than they are consultative. But scuba retailers, for the most part, have not adapted to this shift. So in summary, brick and mortar retail across the board has been circling the drain for years across all industries. Scuba manufacturers impose ridiculous rules and minimums and margins, which makes keeping inventory in stock pretty much unrealistic, which in turn makes store retail pretty untenable. Scuba store owners fail to connect with younger divers to convert D.S.Ds to open waters to buyers of dive gear, and consumers are better educated and less patient. What does this spell for the future? I get that buying dive gear in person, in store, is the ideal scenario. It's still the fastest way for me to go to a store, buy what I want and go home. Being able to breeze into a local dive store that is a wonderful emporium of every brand and model in every color and size in stock, ready to try on, have a chat with your friendly and knowledgeable dive store clerk, and with a swipe of your card, take that item that you're looking for home, is the ideal. But that scenario is an absolute fantasy in this age. Local dive shops either need to pivot and diversify away from gear sales and make up their revenue with travel and classes and really make that their focus, where I still believe there is good money to be made and where you definitely have more control over your margins, or go all in. If you want to do retail, do it big. Go in with a huge capex and absolutely crush e-commerce. There are a handful of dive shops here in the US who started life as a local dive shop, serving their immediate community. They lifted their heads up, they saw what was happening to retail in other sectors, and they fully embraced e-commerce, either nationally or internationally. There's a bunch that I could name. In general, I'm a huge fan of any scuba business who is capable of looking outward. Lift their head up, look around, look outside of the scuba industry at other sports, at other industries. See what's out there, track trends, and then strategize to take advantage inside of our industry. Generally speaking, we are such a backwards, inward-facing industry, and I just don't understand how we came to be like this. I see local dive retailers who solely rely on equipment sales as their only revenue stream becoming a thing of the past unless they embrace e-commerce. One scuba retail operation that I'd like to give as a case example that I really like is Dive Gear Express. They are 99.9% online only. Their location is here in Florida. It is a warehouse in an industrial estate next to a trash dump, which I presume keeps their overheads pretty low. You can opt to pick up your order in the store, but you still have to place your order online, which means they don't need to invest in tons of POS equipment and can dedicate staff to filling orders instead of standing at cash registers doing nothing. They don't have a fancy showroom and all the overheads that incurs. They are only open Monday to Friday, which means all staff get weekends off. Where they have obviously spent money is on their website, which is extremely well designed and efficient. As well as hosting their retail platform, DGX's website is also a great source of education on gear and techniques. They process orders as fast and as accurately as Amazon Prime, and I personally have never had anything I've ordered be back ordered from them. Free shipping over $50 all the time, standard offer, no email spam, no gimmicky sales, no Black Friday bullshit, no coupon codes, no loyalty program. When you email them, someone answers, and when you call them, someone answers the phone. And that's what you're looking for, really. A really efficient, really honest retail experience. But more than that, they are proof that a local dive shop, something that started as a local dive retailer, can embrace e-commerce in the scuba industry, provide excellent customer service and education, both digitally and in person, and in turn their local business into a national business and also an international business. Now, if this sounds like a sponsored video, I promise you it is not. Money between me and Dive Gear Express flows in one direction only. As far as the can't fill cylinders online argument, I see the future as gas fills only being available where diving is happening. Shore locations, charter operations, dive schools. There's no real profit in gas fills for a dive retailer. You might be like, but they're selling us air. Well, when you consider how much it costs to actually maintain a compressor and or buy a commercial gas supply, there's not a lot of revenue to be made there. So I see that these gas fill stations need to be linked to other sources of revenues, i.e. actual diving, charter operations, courses, etc. I imagine the scuba industry will default something to the automotive industry model. Most cars, of course, need gas or diesel to run. Gas stations, petrol stations in the UK sell fuel. You can't fill up your scuba cylinder online, you can't fill up your car online. Gas stations also sell items that motorists might need in a pinch. Wiper blades, windshield washer fluids, air fresheners, accessories, that kind of stuff. They also sell snacks and drinks and so on. But they don't sell whole cars and they don't sell major automotive parts. Automotive retailers, like scuba retailers, for example, Advanced Auto Parts here in the States, are not doing great. AAP lost $820 million just in the last quarter of 2024. Again, it used to be the kind of store that you had to go into physically to get advice and find the right part you need from an expert staff member, but not anymore. And they failed to adapt to the e-commerce marketplace, got their behind paddled by Bezos, and are now circling the drain. I don't see gas stations like Shell and Chevron and Exxon and BP and that kind of stuff going away anytime soon, but auto parts retailer stores are toast. Do you see the comparison I'm trying to make here? I hope I get to see scuba retailers finally understanding, decades after every other sports supplier has already understood this, that in order to provide good customer service in the 2020s, you better keep inventory in stock. To keep inventory in stock and to make a profit, you need to move product in bulk. To move product in bulk, you can't just rely on your local dive community, as cute and nostalgic as they may be. You need to think bigger, you need a bigger reach. E-commerce. Modernize or die. As for how do we keep younger generations engaged with scuba diving long enough to hold their interest to the point that they will actually make gear purchases, well, that could be a whole separate video, but for now, let me just say, we need to push back on training agencies and we need to stop selling them courses and certifications and instead start showing them and inspiring them with experiences. So instead of talking about the Wreck Diver course, show them Truck Lagoon. Instead of talking about a bullshit Shark ID specialty certification, show them Bequia Lagoon in Fiji. Show them things that they can do with the skills and with the sport. Show experiences, set bucket list goals, and educate casually and consistently rather than ramming the next agency course down their throats. It's not engaging. It's a cultural shift we need to make as dive educators in our approach if we're going to hold the attention of the younger generations for longer than an Instagram reel. Only then, very gently, will we be able to engage these younger divers for long enough that they consider buying their own set of dive gear. My question to you is, how is your local dive shop doing? Have they adjusted? Have they adapted? Are they strengthening or are they weakening? How's their relationship with the manufacturers? Comment down below, I'm interested to know. Thank you so much as always for watching. If you learned something from this video, if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and share it with your dive buddies. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you in the next video. Dive safe, dive often.